Jack, are we ready to go?
It says President Gary Zuckerman.
President.
On your,
That's from the Park Commission.
okay.
Well, Janai, you got the wrong thing on here.
I have one.
It says
Somebody does.
President.
Oh, is Pam's up there? I didn't
Jack.
see.
Pam's right. Councilperson, come here.
Leave it as,
Councilperson Samantha.
President.
I could be the president, it doesn't matter.
President Gary Zuckerman.
you hope, yeah?
Yeah, President. Did you reach? There we go. You reached him?
We could make one sentence says president supervisor. Doesn't matter. Hello, Vic.
Gary, how are you?
I'm good.
10 seconds.
Is everybody ready? Good. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the Rye Town Council meeting of March 17th, 2022. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
Pledge to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, bless this assemblage. Grant us the wisdom to make every decision fair-minded and in the best interest of all its residents. Amen.
Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Samuel Jaffe. Councilperson Jill Axelrod.
Present.
Councilperson Lindsay Ann Jackson.
She's up. She's on the wall.
She said here. Councilperson Thomas Nardi
Here.
and Supervisor Gary Zuckerman.
Here. This meeting is a hybrid meeting, meaning that, which means that some are attending in person and some are attending via Zoom. The public can attend via Facebook and also via Zoom if they have the link. I just wanted to make that announcement so everybody knows exactly what's happening. Councilwoman Jackson and Town Administrator Rising are on Zoom, as is our Controller Dave Burns and our Receiver Nick Mecca. Adoption of minutes of the meeting held February 17th, 2022. May I have a motion and a second?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
If there are no, are there any additions or corrections? If not, Hope, please call the roll. Oh, no, let's do it unanimous. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Oh, sorry, am I delayed?
You're on a delay. You got to be quicker, Lindsay.
All right, I gotta preemptively speak.
Okay. We now have a public hearing on local law number 1 of the year 2022. This is an amendment to local law 1. Was it local law 1 of, I'm not sure what the local law number was.
It was local law number 1.
Of 2021.
Right.
That,
2020.
of 2020, establishing the position of the town administrator. Upon filing it, we were advised by the county personnel department that we needed to make certain minor amendments. For example, it's in the new local law. Let me just state for the record. In fact, you know what? Before we do that, may I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So, I'm sorry. We'll make the motion to open this to public hearing.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Public hearing is now open. As I was saying, certain sections need to have minor adjustments. For example, Section 2 states that the position is unclassified. However, the proper title is, it's an exempt position. Section 7 states that it may be amended by resolution. It needs to be amended by local law. Section 3 changes the word from disability to inability. And the last section that needs to be changed is a typo where the word village appeared, where the word should be town. So those are the 4 changes that are necessary. Does anybody have any comment? Are there any members of the public who wish to speak? Is there anybody on Facebook who wishes to speak? Hearing no members of the public having a desire to speak, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The public hearing is closed. And now I'd like to have a motion to approve local law number 1 of the year 2022 as revised from the previous local law.
I so
May I
move to approve local law number 1 for the year 2022.
I'll
Second. Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Jaffe?
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. Our next item is a discussion, presentation and discussion of the Capstone project. Debbie, do you have anything on that?
Yes, I do. Joining us this evening are Sally Burns and Joelle Miller, who are both members of the Capstone team that attend NYU Wagner Graduate School of Public Service. As many know, and others I will inform for the first time, we applied to NYU last summer in hopes that a team of urban planners would be interested in conducting a master plan for Crawford Park. And we were very lucky to be selected. That process is undergoing. We have gone through a literature review, and we have gone through a statistical data collection process, and we are now moving on to qualitative data collection and on our way to a final draft and presentation on May 1st or 2nd, ladies, which is it? Monday, May 2nd, I think. Thank you. We requested that this would be a really great time for the team to update the town council and any members of the community about the project, where we've come, where we are heading now, and what's to come. So that's my introduction.
Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
Capstone
Can you
people?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So thank you, Debbie, for the introduction. As Debbie mentioned, sorry, I'm in the city. That's welcome to new. Oh my goodness, 1 second. Okay, so anyways, good evening. As Debbie mentioned, I'm Joelle Miller, and I'm joined by my colleague, Sally Burns. So we are NYU Urban Planning graduate students and a part of a consulting team that's working with the town of Rye on Crawford Park improvements. And so we have been working with Debbie and a few other staff members since September of 2021 to identify ways to make Crawford Park a more inclusive and equitable space, and to also identify what types of programs or park improvements Rye residents would like to see. My colleague Sally will explain more about the process of the project.
So far we have visited the park. We've researched different case studies similar to what Debbie had mentioned in terms of like a literature review. We held a key stakeholder meeting. We distributed a digital survey, and based on the information we gathered from our site visit, case study research, and stakeholder engagement, We came up with a list of kind of potential solutions, a document kind of outlining areas of opportunity for the park. The stakeholder engagement meeting was attended by local sport team representatives, Friends of Crawford Park, Town of Rye residents, Portchester Council for the Arts, and Town of Rye administration. Our survey ended up being filled out by a total of 157 people and was available in both English and Spanish, though it wasn't filled out in Spanish in the end. Joelle will jump back in soon to let you know about our continued surveying and research that we'll be collecting soon, but we do have preliminary results just based on the digital survey, but that alone won't be kind of our final take. So preliminarily, most people see the number one priority as walking through the park. So people are seeking more improved paths and sidewalks. And also a very large percentage of people are willing to donate and or volunteer their time and money for the park, which is a great thing to see. Many are looking for different programming that can happen in the mansion or on the ground. So maybe some fitness classes or some gardening areas. Many are also looking for more organized events and activities and more opportunities to bring the community together. So concerts, food trucks, such as. And now I'll pass it over to Joelle to let you know what's coming next.
Okay, so after retrieving our initial survey results, we're happy to hear from a good number of residents from Rye, but we still want to make sure that we hear from a diverse array of residents. And we'd still like to hear from groups that we haven't heard from, for example, teens who are using the park, senior citizens, and community members from the Portchester region, and just any other groups that we haven't heard from yet in the initial survey. And so to meet this goal, our group will be conducting focus groups over Zoom. We're thinking late March, early April. And in these groups, we're going to be asking community members park feedback questions, and then also just opening up the floor for them to give us just feedback on what they'd like to see, whether it be programs or maybe, actual infrastructure for like a certain sport or something. So I just put myself on mute, my fault. Mm-hmm. Do any of the council members have any questions or suggestions for the project?
Pam,
I've
Jill,
been in meetings and,
Tommy?
thank you for coming.
You mentioned about getting the seniors. Did you go to Pacific Center or the Portchester Senior Center?
What was the first one?
I said the Anthony Pacific Center, because that's where the Rybrook seniors meet. And
No, we haven't yet. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and also the Portchester Senior Center, which is at 222 Grace Church Street.
Tommy, I mentioned that the group was going to be directly to Liz Rothfeld, who I saw last week, that the focus group project was underway. She was very excited and looking forward to hearing from the Capstone team so that she could facilitate an opportunity for the seniors to give their input. Also, she was pretty excited. What she'd like to do is organize a trip where the seniors could come to Crawford and walk around, and was hoping that maybe that could be managed before the focus group, so that she could the seniors could give informed.
Yeah, I know. Liz keeps the seniors busy over there. They always have something going on.
May I make a suggestion?
I think,
Excuse me, Lindsay, may I make a suggestion, Debbie, that Liz contact Vic directly?
Yes, I think Liz was going to be speaking to Camille directly. I don't.
Okay, Camille just walked in.
Did that happen?
Camille, did Liz Roadfield happen to speak to you about the Rybrook seniors coming over? No, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, I'll make sure that happens.
Okay.
I'll see her tomorrow, so I can also.
And who, I don't know who's in charge of the Portchester seniors. I don't know who runs that.
Mary Ann.
Nielsen,
Yes,
Karen
Mary Ann.
Nielsen's daughter. Thank you.
I would suggest actually Liz herself participate, because I think she's very keyed into the community, not just for the senior citizens, but many aspects. I think she'd be an asset to have.
And Lindsay, this goes to you. What about for Rye-Neck? What organizations or groups in Rye-Neck? Because Rye-Neck is still part of the town of Rye, and we need to get them involved as well.
You know, I think that we should look at the school district itself. If there's any use, especially since we've seen it be utilized a lot by Portchester and Rye Brook or Blind Brook school district. So I think they would be a great participant to have. There's also a number of neighborhood organizations, and I can actually send the information to Debbie, but those might be good too. Shore Acres, who's active with the Otter Creek Bridge, might be another place to start. Maybe some of those community members, and we can go from there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, we're really trying to identify which groups usually do not come to these meetings, you know, who kind of stay quiet and who still use the park. We haven't quite heard yet from too many sport teams. We had them at our initial meeting, but we do want to reach out to them more. So if you guys think about anybody, just send it to Debbie, and then I'm pretty sure she'd be more than happy to send it over to us.
Great,
Also,
great.
the entire council received a letter from me that has the link to the Google Doc where we were invited to add names. Perhaps Joelle and Sally, would you resend that to me, and I will make sure to forward it directly to the council members?
Of course, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Is there anything else?
I just want to point out that the Capstone team will be making its final presentation on May 2nd. And I want to make sure, you know, it's not a council night, but as soon as that, I have details of that, we'd like to forward it to the council. Hopefully a number of the council can attend.
All right. What day of the week is that?
It's a Monday.
Monday, May 2nd.
Okay.
Will that be a
Where is that
Zoom
gonna be
meeting?
held?
Or?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, will that be an in-person meeting or remote? How are we going to conduct that?
I'm hoping it will be an in-person meeting, but the team hasn't told me.
And where, if you have it in person, where it's gonna be?
Right in that room.
Right here, okay, okay. Just wanna make sure.
Hopefully filmed just the way this one is and
Okay, cool.
broadcast out to the community.
Okay, cool,
Good.
okay.
I think the community
Excellent.
would like to hear as well.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't hear. What was that? I didn't
she's
hear.
saying that the community could see it as well.
Yeah.
And Pam was saying that would be helpful.
Absolutely. So, is that it, ladies?
A quick
Yep, that's it. Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
And I'd like to
Good
point
pre-
out that Sally and Joelle have done this on their spring break, and I appreciate the extra effort that took.
For sure.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We very much appreciate it. Looking forward to finishing it up. Good. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Our pleasure. We've reached the resolution part of the
Let's do it.
meeting. Number one is to reauthorize our agreement with ICOMPASS Technologies. This is a annual cost of just under $10,000. And they have various components. ICOMPASS is what makes our meeting agendas go. Debbie, do you have any other explanation?
No, other than they haven't raised their prices in several years. So,
Right. And
and
they're,
that's,
at the same price, they're also initiating agenda software for the Board of Assessment Review to make their operations more efficient by putting their agendas on their platform and being able to have all the BAR members interact and get all the documents at the same time, the way we get our agendas. So, may I have a motion and a
And-
second?
Debbie,
No,
just
hold-
to clarify this.
Wait, Debbie, Lindsay, hold on. Motion and a second, please.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Lindsay?
This was built into the budget for 2020, correct?
Yes,
This cost? Okay.
All right, any further discussion? Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Jaffe?
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. Our next resolution is a donation, which we do every year, to the American Legion Post 93 for the Memorial Day ceremonies. I don't think there's too much to question about that. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Seconded.
Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Jaffe?
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. The next item, Hope, did you, I thought you were gonna pull that one. The submission for
Did
the,
you?
for the
I
grant.
did, you probably didn't refresh.
I did refresh,
Well, it's,
but maybe my refresh didn't get refreshed. Okay,
yeah,
all right,
'cause our
so
next
that's
one
up.
is
Do
a
you guys
certiorari.
have 6.3 on?
Oh, for Varmax?
No,
Varmax
the
is
submission of the application.
No,
No?
my 6.3
Okay.
is
Mine- Okay, mine has it, okay. The next is the next group is a tax cert resolution. In fact, I'm going to come back out of no, mine is not refreshing, Hope. Is there a secret? Does anybody, oh, I know, wait. Okay, I think I hit the round circle.
Right.
Got it. Okay, now I am totally refreshed. Totally refreshed. Okay. First tax cert resolution is for Varmax. Dan, I think that's yours. You want to tell us, you can step to the podium and just tell us basically.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor and members of the board. This was actually settled a long time ago. It came onto your agenda back in 2021. I was not able to appear that evening, and some questions arose with regard to the settlement that couldn't be answered at the night of the meeting. So we've put it back on again. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But this basically involved a correction to the inventory of Varmax liquor. I don't know if you know where that is on Putnam Avenue. There was we had an architect who's actually done work for the town, Mr. Gianfrancisco, who also does work for Varmax, went and certified the square footage, and we corrected the square footage in the inventory and adjusted the assessments accordingly.
And you've spoken to the school district and village?
Yes, in fact, we've spoke to them about this on a number of occasions, including on our quarterly meetings, so they know this was settled a long time ago.
Okay. Is there a major payback on this?
There is some payback. The school district is about $37,000. The village is about $17,000.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, may I have a motion and a second to approve the tax cert settlement?
So moved.
Seconded.
Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Jaffe?
Yep.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. The next one is 44 Grant Street in Portchester. Dan, same questions.
This one was just, we settled it. They withdrew 1 year and we reduced it for a second year where they had an appraisal. I have not spoken with the villages of the school district on this because it's so small. The village refund is only about $1,600, so it's just a small one.
All right. Thank you. Questions from the council? Not, may I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Councilperson Jaffe?
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes, thank you. And
Thank
the
you.
last, thank you, Dan. The last tax cert is Evelyn Court Apartments. I think that's yours, Jeff?
Yes, hi, I'm Jeff Binder, Town Attorney and also Special Counsel for Tax Cert Matters. This is Evelyn Court Apartments, which is located in the village of Mamaroneck. This is the Rye-Neck School District, and this is a multifamily apartment building located on Tompkins Avenue. And this tax cert settlement basically, it's covering 2016 through 2021, but refunds are only due on 2016 and 2017. The school district has been apprised, and I've told them that the refund is approximately $29,000 total, and the village refund is about $9,000 total.
Thank you. Any questions?
This building also is covered under the Emergency Tenant Protection Act, which creates some challenges for the municipality when we're dealing with tax certs. So I'd recommend approval of the settlement.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Seconded.
Please call the roll.
Yes. Councilperson Jaffe?
Yep.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes, thank you. And Jeff, Dan, make sure that these settlements are reflected on our spreadsheet. Move to the inactive column.
Yep.
And I think, do we have copies of the signed consent judgments yet?
Not yet. We don't
Okay.
do it until we approve.
All right, so we've got to get that to the assessor so that we can do whatever we have to do, and for Nick for issuing the tax bills. Denise, you're up. The assessor's report, and Denise has some new things for us tonight.
Good evening, Honorable Supervisor and council members. I have a PowerPoint presentation. It's up here, but it's in front of me here. So it's about the veterans exemptions, which have been in the news lately. So back in November of 2021 for Veterans Day, Governor Hochul signed a legislative package to grant additional benefits to veterans and their families. And basically, the legislation moved back the beginning of the Vietnam War period from February 28, 1961 to November 1, 1955. And that was more in line with what the federal government regards as the Vietnam War. So this will allow people who served in active duty, who may be Cold War, to now be considered alternative veterans with additional benefits. So the period of war, the Vietnam, is highlighted down below, and in order to be eligible for the alternative veterans exemption, the veteran must have been in active duty during one of the periods of war and be honorably discharged. Is this not moving? There we go. A Cold War veteran is someone who was active during a time period other than those periods of war and would have been honorably discharged. So that 1955 time frame has shortened considerably. So what the assessment department has done is established an initiative to have all veterans reapply, so we can make sure everybody is getting the exemption that they're supposed to. And per New York State, we were not supposed to automatically make the change. The veteran did have to come in and apply. So we decided, let's just have everybody reapply. It's kind of like a cleanup, so to speak. Also, we did this in 2014. We called in an audit, and this time it's just a complete reapply. And we're trying to make it as easy as possible. We do have their documentation. We get numerous calls, and we tell them, if you can't find your documentation, and we find it right then and there because it's scanned to the program, then we'll let them know that if they can't find it, we've got it, and then that we can put it together. The second piece of legislation in 2021 is that County Executive Latimer signed into law increasing limits for the veterans. Now, I have to confess that I, like many of the assessors, thought it was only for the alt vets, but it was also for the Cold War vets. So the rest of my presentation is for alt vet because that's where the biggest impact is. But after that, I do have a short presentation on Cold War that I can show you so you can see the impact of that. So these are the limits that are currently in place according to the Westchester Tax Commissioner's annual report. And as you can see, Westchester County is listed up top, and their limits were the same as the towns at 54, 36, and 180. And those will be going up for the 2022 assessment roll to 75,000, 50,000, and 250. And the only municipality in the county that had already adopted those highest limits, as you can see boxed in red there, is the city of Yonkers. And this also just, I had put this in there to show you that most of the municipalities follow the limits that the town of Rye has. Back in 2014, the schools had the opportunity to adopt the vet exemption. And in our case, all 3 school districts did. Blind Brook accepted the same limits that the town has, and Portchester and Rye-Neck accepted the lowest limits. So just to give you some background about the alt vet exemption is that if you served in one of those periods of war, you're considered wartime, you get a 15% reduction on your assessment, but it's capped out at $54,000. If you served in combat, you would get an additional 10%, which is capped out at $36,000, or a combined total of $90,000. If you have a service-connected disability, you're entitled to half of the disability rating, and that's capped out at $180,000. So these are the exemptions limit sets that New York State has established. And as you can see right now, we're at the 54, 36, and 180, and the 75, 50, and 250 is the highest. A municipality could pick something in between and could increase the limits at any time. So I just want to also back up a little bit that I'm making this presentation just to illustrate if the town were to go to the same limits as the county, what the impact will be. I'm not making a recommendation one way or the other. That would be totally up to you. So I ran the calculations, and just to explain this briefly, hopefully, if you have an assessment of $360,000, you're going to hit the limit. So anybody with less than 360 will be somewhere below the limit, and anybody else is going to just be at the limit. So we have a lot of people at the limit because we are a high appreciation community. With the new limits, your assessment would have to be $500,000. And again, we're going to have a lot of people at the limits if the new limits are put into place. So for the town, there are 527 exemptions, vet exemptions, that could be affected because they're already at the limit. There are 330 at 15%, the first level wartime, and Basically, this is just an extension of the math. 330 times the current limit gives us the current exempt value. And then if we are to extend that to the 75,000, multiply it by the 330, gives us a new exemption and the difference. So this was done for all 3 levels of the exemption, and if the highest limit is put into place, the total exemption difference will be $14,770,000. So I basically recapitulated the figures that Nick uses to calculate the tax rate. So since this is an estimate, it was best to base it on those established figures and rates because we don't know what they're going to be going forward. So the current tax rate is 20.251825, and I took the taxable assessed value, subtracted out the exemption difference for the new number of $6,182,000 and change, calculated the tax rate, and it's now 0.2524. So if you multiply that tax rate or take the average single-family assessment divided by 1,000 times the tax rate, we would get an average impact to the town resident, homestead resident, of 42 cents for the year. That's the whole impact. The impact for the villages and the school districts are different. So what I did is I took
Denise,
those.
let me interrupt you. What we're going to act on is just for the town.
Correct.
And the villages can, and the school districts can act on their own however they see fit. They could follow us or not.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, the county of Westchester, they enacted the maximum. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So my suggestion is that we follow the county of Westchester and enact whatever they enacted and go forward from there, advise the school districts and the villages what we're doing, and they can follow suit or not as they see fit. Right? Anybody differ from that? All right.
Okay, so basically what I did with the presentation, which is a little different from the ones in your packets, is I took all of the other calculations for the villages and the schools, dropped them to the bottom so you can still go over those, but in the next page is the summary. Basically, it pulls together all of the impacts for the town at 42 cents, the village of Mamaroneck, $3.82, the village of Portchester, $13.37, village of Rybrook, $9.29, and the Blindbrook School District, $29.83. Where the big difference starts to happen is in the Portchester School District at $109, and in the Rhinebeck School District at $108, basically $109. And the reason for that is because they are at the lowest limit, so the gap is much wider.
So they have a choice. They can increase it slightly rather than what we do.
Absolutely. And,
Okay.
you know, I can run any set of numbers that they would like, but I did run numbers for them, which is included in the appendix now, or included in the middle of your report, that show if they go to the limit, it'll be this impact. If they go to what the town currently has, it would be another impact. So right now, the municipalities that in the county that have adopted the new higher limits are the town of Cortland, New Rochelle, North Salem, Pelham, Scarsdale, and Yorktown.
Right.
And 2 more slides, and then it's the appendix after that, which you guys can just continue to review. If you have any questions between now and when you may pass the local law, you can just get in touch with me if you'd like. So if the board wants to move forward with a public hearing and pass a local law increasing the alt vet limits to mirror the county's latest limits of 75, 50,000, 250. So is that something the board wants to do? Does the board want to consider increasing the limit to something in between? And the villages and school districts would have to decide if they want to change their own limits. The local law would have to be passed before May 1st, 2022, which is the town's taxable status date. All veterans need to reapply with the town by May 1st, which I just realized tonight is a Sunday, so it's May 2nd. And we will do everything in our power not to deny anybody. We'll reach out and make contact, so there's not going to be rejections just because they didn't show up on May 1st, but May 1st is the deadline.
Denise, let me just ask you one other question. It says all veterans need to reapply by May 1, now May 2. That's irregardless of what we do.
Right.
I mean, that's not part of it. They just
Right.
have to reapply as a matter of the process at this point.
Right, and that will capture some of them who will be changed
All right.
by the governor's.
We need to put that on the website, okay, so that the veterans know that they have to reapply. You are
We sent-
probably sending out letters?
We did, out of 600, we probably have about 100 back already. So we're
Okay.
getting a good response, lots of phone calls, and yes, I have the applications out on the website. I don't have anything on the main screen there, but I'll put that on, but we did mail out the letter.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The new limits and any changes to an individual's exemption status would have to be posted on the June 1st, 2022 tentative roll. And any new savings or benefits would be first realized by the taxpayer on the April 2023 town-county tax bills. So that's where I'll end this one, and then, like I said, in your packet are the individual calculations, same format, just different numbers of mix of how many each municipality, school district has, their tax rate, and the impact on the taxes for the year for a resident, based on the average single-family residential
Another
assessment.
question.
Mhm.
We have to pass a local law by May 1st.
Correct.
Okay. What about the villages and the school districts?
They would have to let us know by May 1st to put into effect for the 2022 roll.
We pass a local law. I'm assuming the villages pass a local law.
Mhm.
The school districts pass a resolution, they don't do local laws.
I believe I'd have to double check. It may be a resolution for the school districts.
But they have to be advised because there's not
Abs-
much time. I mean, we know that we're moving forward. They're gonna have to have discussions as to, A, whether they're gonna do it, and if they do it, at what level.
Right. I
Correct?
wanted to kind of see how you guys felt tonight, then I'm reaching out to them,
Okay,
and I'd be happy to make a presentation to them as well.
all right.
Okay?
It's a lot of presentations.
A lot of presentations. So basically, the Cold War is also affected. So I did a quick PowerPoint. And again, Cold War, different time period. And again, the county executive signs it into law. Same limits as the alt vet. The difference with Cold War is that they get a 15% reduction on their assessment, but right now it's capped at $12,000, and which everybody's capped at $12,000. And there is no combat, so no additional percentage on that. And the service-connected disability is, again, half of the disability rating as established by the government, and it's capped out at $40,000. Now, I truncated that chart from the county tax commissioner's annual report just to show you here that there are 13 munis at the $54,180 limit, one at $27.90, one at $75,250. That's Yonkers. They're mimicking their alt vet limits. 8 communities at $12,000 and $40,000, and one of those is us, and 1 community at $6,000 and $20,000, and 2 who did not adopt it. So that paints the picture of what the county is at a current rate. So again, I did the same calculations. There are only 53 Cold War vets in the town, one of whom is disabled at the max. And I did the extension of the new limits. And basically, the change in the tax rate is very, very small. And the overall effect is 10 cents per taxpayer for the year, for just the town, because the town's tax rate is so low. And then there is no school Cold War exemption, but in summary, I did the calculations, they follow here, and I will be happy to email this PowerPoint to you tomorrow morning first thing. But the village of Mamaroneck, 60 cents per residential taxpayer for the year. Portchester, $3.05, and the village of Rybrook, $2.67. And, you know, again, these were the calculations that just follow for the villages.
All right, thank you, Denise.
Thank you.
Very extensive, much appreciated. Does the council wish to go forward with the exemptions, both exemptions?
I do. I just have one question. Given these are such important citizens, but they may not be as available to technology, can we make sure we're reaching out to veterans on various and multiple platforms to get word about this? So I know you've done letters. It's hopefully going to be on the website. Maybe we reach out to the Westmore News and ask them to place some sort of
Sure.
pro bono ad, you know, local papers in the area. But places we know that their eyeballs are going to be where it's not necessarily tech-focused only.
Absolutely.
I
And we,
think
And I
the
was
senior
thinking,
centers,
The
if I
senior
may,
centers,
the
yeah.
senior centers, because,
Yep.
And the veteran organizations.
yeah,
the villages have a robocall facility, so perhaps they can, if we record a brief script that can go out by telephone to everyone.
yeah, but wait. Can we limit it to veterans? I mean, I don't think that all of the people in the town of Rye are gonna wanna receive all of this a robocall about veterans exemptions that doesn't apply to them. You wanna reach the veterans. So I think
Oh, no,
you're right, the
that's
veteran,
that will not be a good idea.
the veterans organizations, okay, and we're making a donation to one of them for the Memorial Day Parade. There are a couple of veterans organizations, and we can reach out to all of them, number one. And number two, the senior citizens, we can reach out to them. Plus Denise's mailing, and we'll have it on the website.
and we also have the ability to do a robocall that's specific to the veterans, because as we get these in by middle of April, we'll know who we don't have, so we'll send a follow-up letter, we'll call, you know, we'll be reaching out, no worries there, yeah.
Actually, the veterans, they don't really need to know about the change in exemption, do they? Because they are filing. You have to reach out to them to refile anyway,
Just to
Correct.
satisfy the deadline, yeah.
to satisfy the deadline. So these new limitations would apply to them automatically. They don't have to do anything separate for the limitations to take advantage of this. This becomes automatic, correct?
If they apply and they fit the criteria, then they'll be changed.
Right.
over.
So the key is to make sure all the veterans get the information that they need to reapply,
Mhm.
and we can have a flyer to say the limits have been extended
Yeah,
along
we
with
put,
that.
we put that, well, we didn't put it about deciding on these additional benefits, but we did put in about the Cold War period,
Okay,
okay?
all right, good.
Any other
So-
question?
Not
So
for
just
me.
make it as explicit but easy to read as possible for this group.
Yeah,
All right, so Hope, you'll set a public hearing for the next meeting for this,
Local law number 2.
for local law number 2. And Jeff, you'll work with Denise to craft the actual local law? Which I'm sure since the county's already done it, it'll probably be in a similar form
or
to
one of
theirs.
those other munis too, either way,
Yeah, you can get the one from Scarsdale, for example.
yeah.
You mean I'm not supposed to reinvent the wheel?
It's always dangerous when you do. Your wheels come in square.
We do have veterans that are coming to pick up flags from us too, and so.
Well, that would be a great
Right.
reminder, yeah.
So we'll speak to them, Billy Chapetta.
Sure.
And Hank Birdsall.
And when they come in to pay taxes, we see them then,
Yes,
so.
Reverend then.
Yeah, it's good to see people. Yeah, this is really the first time we've done something where they're coming in and it's like, feels like old times, which is nice. Yeah,
It does.
yeah. So thank you, everybody.
All right. So, okay, that's taken care of, and now I've lost my agenda, now that I've read that. Crawford Park. Camille.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to be here. So I only have 2 slides tonight, I'm sorry, but they have a lot of information. Okay, so in terms of the number of inquiries or leads that we are getting, it's pretty amazing. For January and February, we had a total of 48 inquiries. Now, the cumulative number since then is 101. And every one of those requires a proposal. So we're getting a lot of communication out there. And Gary, you had asked last month if there were any metrics that we could compare to 2021. So you'll see there are some that we can. And at the same time, last year, we only had 15 inquiries total. So that's an incredible difference. So. In terms of the bookings, January and February, I shared with you that we had 41 bookings. We now have a cumulative number of 75 bookings. And we weren't able to, because of the way our software is, we don't have the metrics to gather the number of bookings cumulatively from last year. But we do have a total of 479 event days on the calendar for this year. And I forgot to mention that we have an average number of leads of 24 per month. No, it's a lot, right?
A lot.
As far as the events that are booked, as of right now, 59% of them are here in the mansion, 36% are in our pavilion. Only 3% and 2% respectively are in the sports fields, and then a combination of the mansion and the pavilion. I expect those numbers to really flip for the next couple of months because the interest in the pavilion is tremendous, as are the sports fields. So we're going to see some numbers changing there. Our revenue, last month I reported that our revenue was almost $44,000. We are now at $92,000, and compared to last year, through the middle of March, our revenue was $12,000. So a lot of,
What, 92 compared to 12 year over year?
yes. Well, don't forget we had COVID, so there were a lot of refunds and a lot of cancellations. Okay, we have had 20 municipal events, and we have given the community back $35,000 so far. And number of events executed. Last month we had only 5. This month cumulatively we have 11 that have been executed, and we had 9 last year at this time. So that's a little bit surprising as well. And those are the numbers I have to share with you tonight. Any questions?
No, I think we're moving forward. What is your projected revenue based on the activity thus far? And I know that it's only 3 months in the year. but what is your projected revenue for the year, if you have any idea, as compared to, for example, our budgeted amount? Are we behind, ahead, on level for it?
I
Do you have
think
any
we
idea?
are on track and probably will exceed. I think we put in 205,000.
205,000.
205,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
And I'll tell you, we are.
From the peanut gallery.
Thank you. I hesitate to say it, but I'm pretty confident we're gonna exceed that if we continue at this rate.
That's great.
We have at this point, I can tell you that April, May, and June, every weekend is booked, with few exceptions. Most of them have multiple events. So we're delighted.
I think that'll continue through the
I
summer.
think so too. I think so too.
All right.
We unfortunately have to turn people away because, the dates we're looking for are already booked, so. But
I'm waiting for Lindsay to say, let's raise the rates.
Lindsay, really? No.
For non-residents.
Non-residents. You know what,
Make
next month
residents
I'll
cheaper.
show you those metrics in terms of who is renting. I can tell you that it is, the large majority are residents, so.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and
That's
I'll
great.
show you those numbers next month, if you'd like.
In fact, a neighbor of mine, her daughter's getting married next month there, so,
Really? Okay.
yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
Keep it in,
No,
keep it
very
in,
happy to
keep
hear
it in
that.
the family.
That's it, that's right.
All right,
All right.
great.
Thank
Thank you,
everyone.
Camille.
You're welcome.
Vic, Director of Parks and Facilities, do you have anything you'd like to bring up?
Right here. Just a couple of minor things, just for all the patrons that use the park. The outdoor bathrooms will be open this weekend. Our sister park in Rytown Park is now heading towards being an electric park like we are. They wrote a nice article. I had a nice picture taken. And Pam, we got a cleanup planting coming, right?
Yes, we do. I actually have it open. Our next community cleanup is actually a community planting. That is currently set for Saturday, April 23rd, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. with a rain date, if I am not mistaken, of a week later.
Yes.
Is that a Saturday? Excuse me. Saturday or Sunday?
Yes, that is a Saturday.
Saturday.
We have 5 cleanup, we actually have 5 planting locations. From here, of course, at Crawford, we go into Portchester, we go into Rytown. Here at Rybrook, we're going to be planting, I believe, sunflowers in appreciation for our friends in the Ukraine at the senior center. So Rybrook is sending their contingent over there. And of course, Mamaroneck is taking part as well. Then at 11:30, after the cleanup, we're doing yet another sustainability committee event that goes towards our environmental ranking and standings, and that will be hosted by Lori Fontanis, Healthy Yards Advocate, and that's going to be at the Portchester Rybrook Public Library, same day, 11:30. So sign up is on the website. You can sign up for any location. We do encourage people to come out, have a beautiful Earth Day weekend with us, and do some planting.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I
If,
have.
Thank
if
you, Vic.
Amanda would give me the ability to share my screen, I can show our wonderful flyer.
I mean, this doesn't help, does it?
No, I still can't. Oh, well, we'll send it around.
She's coming up now. She's. Good night, Denise.
We will post the image, the sharing image, both on the website and Facebook and across our social platforms, Instagram. So just find all of the places where you can find our green information at Town of Rye, and the information will be up there.
Thank you. You have something? No? Okay. Nick, are you on, Nick?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the Town Council. Nicholas Mecca, receiver of taxes. I have 2 points tonight. Number one is 125 or so people in Rye Brook that have not paid the second installment of their village tax. And shortly, the town will have to guarantee the levy. So we will need the money. Please do what you can to get that paid as quickly as possible.
What's
Number
that, 100,
two-
hold it, is that 125, did you say?
Sorry, pardon?
And that's both villages?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said that's both villages or just one village?
No, that's just Rye Brook,
Okay, 125?
125. This is
Okay.
not bad, but it does mount up to $300,000 or $400,000, so it does come into some money, so. And point number two, in 2 weeks, you will receive your brand new 2022 Westchester County Town of Rye tax bill, which is payable by the end of April, 1 month. It's been brought to my attention that the post office no longer processes our first-class mail in Harrison. Our first-class mail goes to Albany. And then from Albany, our lockbox goes to Jersey City. From Jersey City, it goes into Newark. So it's a lot of time involved. I would ask everybody to please add a few days when you make your payment. Make it a few days earlier, or we're online, you can pay online for a small fee. Or number two, if you physically can get down to 222 Grace Church Street, we have the box outside 24/7 that you can just deposit your payment, no stamp, and that's, guaranteed. We pick that up 3 or 4 times a day. So post office is not our control. There's nothing we can do about it, so we just have to kind of live with it. So any questions for me?
Yeah, Nick, what is the status of getting the ACH payments done so that they can be done without fee?
Well, automatically, I'm looking to see, I'm going to get that answer in the next week or so.
Okay,
Hopefully,
great.
If it's available, it will be up April 1st.
Great, thank you.
Okay, anything further?
Nope, thank you, Nick.
No? Okay, thank you and have a good evening.
You too. Davey, finance, any report?
The report was submitted for the receivable report. We are at 0.71% of our levy as of February 28th. That doesn't include the school taxes for the new year. That will be on the March report. But that's the lowest it's been since I've been involved with the town since 2004.
You mean the lowest, mean the best?
Well, the lowest receivable is the best.
Right.
Exactly.
We don't mean the lowest, we don't mean the lowest
Oh, I see.
tax
Yeah, I got you.
collection, we mean the lowest unpaid tax collection.
Right. The lowest receivable is the best receivable.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get that down to 0. We're moving in that direction. Thank you. Did you get my telephone message?
From when was that? Today?
Today.
I did not.
Okay, listen to it, please. Thank you.
Okay.
We don't want 0, we want a positive, we want more people paying us.
No, yes, we want, that's not we want more people paying us. Although the more people that don't pay, we collect more interest. Because we get the money eventually. Okay, thank you, Dave.
Okay.
Town attorney? Nothing, you've already reported. And Hope, your report is filed?
Submitted?
Do you have anything to add to that report?
Nothing.
Okay. All right, with that, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Hey, Lindsay, 2 short meetings
Yeah.
in 1 week.
Did you make that motion?
I listened. It's a record.